I, like one of the millions of homeowners a year, actually experienced a claim. I live in San Francisco. I have a deck that, unbeknownst to me before this, has a drain in the bottom, and there's wood slatting over the deck. So about 6 inches of water pooled in this on this deck, and I didn't know that the drain was clogged. The deck happens to be over my bedroom, and we got a bunch of water starting to come into our bedroom and wondered where it was coming from. So this little thing of, this thing that was totally unknown to me, it was as simple as cleaning a drain, ended up costing us thousands of dollars, in repair. And not just that, but finding people to do it. And then do we also need painters and drywall and all this type of stuff? So that was a really eye-opening experience for me. And I realized that there's a lot of similar things that other people face. And it's really just about giving people a solution to help them mitigate those types of things.
Hey, podcast world, that was Andrew Wynn, the co-founder of Sheltr, which is now part of the Hippo Insurance family. And this is FNO InsureTech with your host, Mr. Lee Boyd.
And the Rob Beller.
Well, no, you need,
Mr.
Lee needs a little help.
Why does Lee need a little help?
In fact, if you're an FNO InsureTech listener, a regular listener, if you could send us an email telling us how much you like Lee, he really needs.
It won't feel forced at all.
But he really needs it. Okay, he might think it's inauthentic, but that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Even if it is inauthentic, please go ahead and send that.
Sure, I would take that.
But speaking of authentic, let's talk about Hippo.
Yeah. Today, we get to visit with Hippo, and we have two people on. Very excited. We're going to be talking about Hippo and the acquisition of Sheltr and kind of what that means. We're going to get to talk about where Hippo's going, what their vision is, and how they're making strategic moves to really accomplish that vision.
We have Daniel Blanaru, who's the VP of Growth Initiatives at Hippo, and one of his key people, Mr. Andrew Wynn, who, as we mentioned, and you heard at the top of the show, is the founder, former CEO, and now a member of the Hippo team, who is still running Sheltr on behalf of Hippo.
Yeah, they just recently acquired Sheltr, just latter part of last year. So it's a new acquisition, and I think they have a lot of great plans for the future.
And we were really interested in Sheltr as an InsureTech and an interesting player in the home services business with a lot of obvious attributes for the insurance market. And of course, we've always been very interested in Hippo as one of the leading InsureTech companies out there.
Right.
And so the combination of the two is very powerful. And I'm sure you're going to agree with us once you hear this episode. So without further ado, go ahead, Lee. We'll let you say you don't get enough mic time. Go ahead.
Well, now it just feels forced, Rob.
Take it when you can get it, buddy.
Without further ado, here is our podcast with Hippo.
Hey, everybody. We have a team of people with us today who are from Hippo, the online insurance startup and disruptor, I'll say, who we all know and hear a lot about. And we have them both with us today because we are talking about a very interesting idea, and that is a company called Sheltr, which is now part of the Hippo family. And with us today, we have to talk about that Andrew Wynn, who's the CEO and former CEO and founder of Sheltr, and Daniel Blanaru, who is the VP of Growth Initiatives at Hippo. How are you guys doing today?
Really good. Thanks for having us on today, Rob.
Yeah, we're great. Thanks for having us.
Great. Where do we find you guys today? Where do you come to us from?
So I'm out of our San Francisco office today, and Daniel's down in our Palo Alto office.
Okay, great. Let's jump right in. talk about Hippo for a few minutes and your work there, Daniel. Give us a minute or two on Hippo. And we've had another person from Hippo on before. We had Darren McCarthy, who talked about the claims end of your business. But you're kind of all the way at the other end of the business. Tell us about Hippo and about what you do there.
Yeah, sure. So Hippo is really a company that is reimagining modern home insurance. And we started in 2015. It's now in 21 states. And it's really focused on a proactive approach to home insurance rather than a reactive one. So where traditional insurers really interact with clients at the point when they have a claim or when they have to pay a bill, we try to turn it on its head and really have a relationship with our customers and prevent claims from happening is what we really focus on, as well as increasingly help our customers take better care of their homes. In terms of my role at Hippo, I actually work often closely with Darren as well on the claim side in terms of, again, claim prevention, as well as how we can make the claim experience as good as it can be for a customer during that difficult time. But more broadly, I run growth initiatives, which means I take care of all kinds of proactive initiatives to help us reduce claims or claim severity, but also test and launch all kinds of innovative solutions that supplement our core business.
That's great. Andrew, why don't you share with us what it is that you're up to these days as part of Hippo?
Yeah, so we were fortunate enough to join the Hippo family of companies at the end of last year. And Sheltr is a protective home maintenance solution. So like Daniel said, we share a lot of the same objectives in that we believe that we can help customers better care for their homes. And that's really, there's a few reasons behind that. One, owning and caring for a home can be really stressful. It's very expensive. It's not an area of expertise for many people, especially first time and younger homeowners. And conversely, so there's that customer component of helping customers, have a better experience. But as Daniel mentioned, there's also the importance to the insurance company of if we can help people better care for their homes, we can also probably, or we can also help them reduce the risk in their homes and avoid costly and unpleasant claim experiences.
So are you guys working exclusively with Hippo today, or are you providing this service to other carriers as well?
So we're not providing the service to other carriers. In terms of insurance partnerships, we're working exclusively. We work exclusively with Hippo now, but together with Hippo, we also work with some of Hippo's partners as well. So that might be home builders or realtors, people like that. So we're not exclusively working with just Hippo customers, but we are working exclusively with Hippo, if that makes sense.
Sure. I saw that a while ago you guys had a pilot with Swift. So that's what kind of prompted that question. I think that was that actually happened before the acquisition. Isn't that correct?
That's right. So before the acquisition, we worked with numerous other partners in the home insurance, brokerage, property management space, and most of those have, including all of the insurance partnerships, have been discontinued as part of the acquisition, primarily just so we can really focus on those Hippo customers and providing the best possible experience to them.
So Sheltr itself, you do a inspection, is that correct? And then give the report back on your findings to the insured so they can prevent claims?
Yeah, that's sort of correct. We don't love the word inspection because we think it's more than that. So
Okay.
we really think of it as like a checkup.
Okay.
So
Wonderful.
almost like a physical for your house, or the equivalent of getting an oil change, or a full service for your car. So what we do is we come to your home every 6 months, and we have sort of two work streams. The first is, much more than an inspection, and we actually complete routine protective preventative maintenance on site. So this is stuff that homeowners, might not know to do, they might not want to do, they might not realize that they have to do. For whatever reason, they're probably not doing it. It's stuff like replacing HVAC filters, changing smoke detector batteries, cleaning dryer vents. We actually complete all of that every 6 months when we're on site. In addition to that maintenance portion, we also do a home assessment. So we look at things like, are there limbs overhanging the roof? What is the condition of the caulking in the bathrooms and kitchens? Do you have a fire extinguisher? Is there any presence of previous or active water leaks or damage? And then based on both the work completed and the assessment, we send our customers a home wellness summary that's available through our mobile app, as well as online through our website, where they can see all the work that was done. So before and after photos of their HVAC filters, you can photos of their new clean dryer vent, as well as the summary of findings of things like, your washing machine hookup hoses are a little worn down. You should consider replacing them.
So is this currently being partnered with Hippo, on the property side, right? Is it just to help the homeowners, or is there a discount or a penalty involved? What does that relationship look like?
Yeah, so it's really just about the customer experience right now. We think this is, and we see this through our customer ratings. Our average customer rating score is right around 90 out of 100. So we know this is a service that customers are finding really valuable. Right now, we don't penalize any customers for not doing it, and we're working towards being able to offer the service with a discount, but that's something that's in the future. Much like smart home or alarm, so it's not something we can do today. But again, we think that the real core value here, or the most important value of a few different types of value, is for our customers.
So it's kind of like almost like an underwriting inspection on steroids that continually occurs, so that you can actually continually give data back to the carrier. Because I'm thinking, what if you're in a laundry room or even a bathroom and you see evidence of a water leak, or what do you call them inspectors?
We call them home pros.
Your home pro sees evidence of damage. What do you do? What do you do with that?
This is Daniel. Just to kind of emphasize, right now, we actually do not use any of the outcomes of the shelter checkups on the insurance side. The real focus is, I think, as Andrew mentioned, is to try and drive adoption and just help as many of our customers as possible take better care of their homes, because eventually it'll pay off for us as well. Like we really truly believe that we share that incentive with the homeowner. And so right now, the focus is from the shelter side. When they do report on certain issues, they provide through the report, the home health report that goes back to the homeowner, the recommendations to address those issues, but also shelter helps the homeowner schedule that follow-up service and would facilitate the service so that the homeowner can get that addressed.
Okay, so you provide recommendations, like we saw evidence of this damage in your bathroom. We recommend that perhaps you have it looked at by a professional. Here's a list of people that we recommend, or what happens then?
We actually go a step further than that. So we provide those recommendations, but we also, we have a network of vendors who we work with and have checked their certificates of insurance and their bonding and their licensing. And you can actually schedule them directly through us. So, we want to get you all the way there. Just right now, you can find, you might not know what the issues are, but you can probably find professionals to help. You can go on Yelp and find a plumber. Conversely, you might know what the issue is, but you might not know who can help you with it. And that plumber might not be available for 2 weeks or call you back. So we really focus on that end to end of identifying issues, making really clear what they are, and then connecting you with someone who can actually resolve them. And all of that is, you can book a time slot directly through our app for that person to come out and either fix it or give a quote or, whatever it may be, depending on the specific nature of the item.
I love that. It really looks as though Hippo as a whole is trying to engage their customer and help them, because myself as a homeowner, I want to do whatever I can to keep it in good shape and to keep it running correctly. My wife tells me all the time, if you have a house, you have to take care of it. But a lot of times I don't know what I need to take care of. I read on your website about caulking around windows is very important. That there's things that I love that you care about the customer enough that you want to help them where they need help. So kudos on that. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Waco, you definitely got to watch the caulking on the window. You'll be spending a lot on your AC bill if you're not careful. But
yes, yes,
we, Sheltr was started obviously with the initial idea of helping the customer. And what we realized pretty quickly when we worked with Hippo is that this isn't at odds. We want to continue to help the customer, but with the same amount of, with the exact same product, we can also enable, insurance and helping the insurance as well. So it's really just more value being created from the same amount of work, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, with the fewer amount of claims that we get, all of our insurance can go down. It really helps the whole economy, right? So Hippo is trying to say we are there for you whenever you need us, but we really want to help you so that we don't have to come.
Yeah.
And we don't want you to have a claim. And these are all the steps. These are the devices. These are the services. These are the ways that you can better yourself, so that you don't need us. But if you do, we're there for you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not we don't want you to have a claim because it costs us money. It's we don't want you to have a claim because having a claim really sucks.
It does.
Yeah,
it does.
Daniel, this is all really interesting because I see how it all fits together strategically for Hippo. Talk with us for a minute about the reality of changing the formula for insurance, which is, as you guys say, is traditionally reactive, and you guys want it to be proactive. How's that working out? Are people excited, or do they want on board with that? Or are we all used to, this is how we deal with our insurance companies. I never hear from them. I pay the bill. That's it.
We definitely see customers being thrilled with that. And we believe this is something they are actually expecting of their insurance companies, and actually increasingly so as you see millennial homeowners and sort of the younger generation kind of going into home ownership. As a generation and in general, today, I think we have just a different level of expectation in terms of the service and value we get from the things we pay for. And, you see it even with our NPS score, our net promoter score is, kind of scratching the 80, which is several times higher than the insurance industry overall, and is pretty consistently at that level, even at scale now. And it's a real, we think, indication of the alignment of our offerings and the way we approach this business with what customers want and need. And so we couldn't be more excited to supplement that with this Sheltr offering and continuing doubling down on this proactive approach to home insurance.
Do you find that to be demographically different, or do you find this engagement strategy effective across all demographics?
We actually see it across the board, and it's interesting now. When we started, we probably skewed a little bit more to the younger homeowners or more tech savvy, but increasingly, especially now at real scale, we see that our customer base is basically the American public, and we'll have the early 30s homeowners all the way through the 94-year-old homeowners that are just owning their fourth or fifth home. We see all of them really engaging healthily with our smart home kit or our proactive services, and really understanding not only the value that these offerings bring to them, but that it makes sense for them to get this from their insurance company, because we share this perspective of, we should take care of this home better. It is your home, but it also is the property we're insuring. And so we share that incentive, if you will, around taking care of the home.
And can you give us any other examples of the kind of proactive nuts and actual proactive things that you're doing with your policyholders?
Sure. So, we think we've already made very significant strides towards delivering on our mission of modernizing home insurance and being proactive instead of reactive. And I would say technology is definitely at the core of everything we do. We analyze and look at potential risks through aerial imagery, right? So we can understand the condition of the roof, and we can proactively reach out to customers if we think repairs are needed, or if there are issues that they should address before those become serious issues. We provide all our customers with a smart home kit that has a set of multi-purpose sensors to just help our customers identify water leaks, or have this device listen to their smoke alarms in case they're not at home. So we really, really are trying to be very thoughtful about equipping our customers with the right proactive means to just on an ongoing basis take better care of their homes, um, on their own or with our help.
I love that. I'm wondering, Daniel, if you can give us a little peek under the hood. Whenever you are out there looking for a new technology or a new company, what what goes through your mind when it's time to partner or purchase a company? What do you is it, I assume it's not just the technology. I assume there's more to it. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Andrew here can attest to the fact that our initial biggest focus has always been the customer experience. Actually, we've conducted over the year plus before we made the acquisition of Sheltr, uh, several pilot programs in neighborhoods across the country with actually a variety of services to our customers through a series of partners, even testing a lot of those services on our own in our own homes. And the Sheltr team stood out not just because of the technology and their operational excellence, but primarily because of that real, genuine focus on the customer experience and the customer benefit. And if there's one thing that we religiously track and measure with all these kinds of initiatives is how do customers receive it? How can we make sure that it's a positive customer experience throughout and at scale? And in the case of Sheltr, the alignment was so strong that we thought it just only naturally made sense to kind of combine forces and continue building this together.
So, Andrew, what was it like? You guys are cruising along. How long were you open before the acquisition? How long were you guys in business before the acquisition occurred?
We've been around for, we launched the company at the very end of 2018. So we've been around for around a year by the acquisition.
So you're cruising along for a relatively short period of time in the grand scheme of business,
Very short.
and you get approached for an acquisition. What was that? Walk us through that.
So we'd actually been partnering with Hippo since very, very early on in the life of our company. So, we had direct to consumer customers who were just buying the service outright. We had other partners, other insurers, realtors, brokerages, like I mentioned earlier. But Hippo was always the sort of shining star for us. And, Daniel can attest when we'd have investors call him to reference the company because we knew that they were such a important and powerful player in the space that their stamp of approval was really important. So we've been working with them since the really early days of the company. And to Daniel's point earlier, we totally were aligned in both our vision for this integrated end-to-end proactive experience for customers, as well as our approach around customer experience. So, that being the paramount thing that we care about most. We're not going to focus on small details that don't matter as much to the customer in the short term. The most important thing is just really delighting customers to start. So after working together for months in different markets, with some other partners, it was pretty clear that we were just very, very aligned in both working style and vision. And so the acquisition conversation came pretty naturally, and it was flattering, but not a surprise, maybe is how I would put it. And it was a really obvious choice for us to hitch our wagon to the leader and together develop something really, really special.
Daniel, did you see that potential right away?
I think it came very fast. I think it was fun to work with the Sheltr team off the bat. It was right away clear that we shared the same vision of, proactive services in the way of helping customers take better care of their homes. But I think as we started seeing the results of the programs we were running together, we also realized that there's operational potential in terms of scaling this truly across our customer base nationally in a way that could really, really help us advance our goal of modernizing home insurance and transform how insurance is done and really deliver on that proactive focus that we have.
So this thing is interesting because now I'm sitting here thinking, well, Hippo could have a home security company, and Hippo has a home inspection company. That there's a number of services around the home that could all be connected through the Hippo hub. Is that what the vision may be looking out in the future?
So you're right that we have the potential to supplement what we do in all kinds of significant ways and in ways that are synergistic to current offerings we have. I think we, especially as a younger company in the insurance space, are incredibly focused on becoming the best home insurance provider out there by far. And so our continued focus will continue to be on that. Would an additional service, technology, product help drive us towards that goal, with the sort of angle always being on proactive and kind of the customer's ongoing needs around home care? We would double down. We would definitely test it out, and we will figure out a way to do it in the best way possible, as long as it serves that goal.
Our producer, who is Alicia Moss, as we were preparing for the episode today, she asked me a question or made a comment that I thought was really interesting. So we're going to do something a little different. Alicia usually isn't on the broadcast, but she has a question or a comment that she wants to pose to you guys.
Hello, guys.
Hi.
Hey there.
So mine is more of a comment, but for about a year, I've been considering buying my first home. And I'm not afraid to admit that as a single woman, I have limited knowledge on maintaining and repairing the inevitable. One of the biggest things that have held me back from moving forward is getting myself into basically something that I can't handle. And through my research for this episode, I've learned about the possibilities that Sheltr opens up. And I thought, just wow, like this is going to make it not just possible, but achievable with ease. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think you're also not alone. So it's the number one frustration of first-time home buyers is the costs and responsibilities of maintaining their home. So you're certainly not alone in feeling and being worried about that frustration or that potential. And you're right, Sheltr as part of Hippo can help you do that. That's really our goal is reducing that stress and anxiety of both worrying about how to maintain your home, but the even worse part of actually dealing with something really negative once it happens.
Right. Great.
And you guys will help a homeowner if they want it to get something fixed.
That's right. Yep. So, in addition to
if it's outside of your scope of what your home pro does.
Yeah, absolutely. So, our home pros really just help you identify those issues and turn them into the words of the trades, right? So understanding that, my water taking a long time to get hot might actually be a specific issue, and then putting that into plumber language, right? And so then we can connect you with a plumber who can help resolve that issue, and handle that process for you. Additionally, beyond just those home checkups and the ability to arrange services, we also, for our customers, we also offer telemaintenance. So it's not just every 6 months that we come to you. If you have a question, you can text our team, you can send us an email, you can call us, and answer we can help you with those questions remotely as well.
I want to talk for a second about scaling. I know that when you guys started, when Sheltr started, you were only in a couple of markets, because obviously to provide this service nationwide is an enormous logistical, footprint that you have to put together. And Daniel, the same with Hippo. Talk a little bit about scaling Hippo and scaling Sheltr.
Sure. I'm probably going to let Andrew talk a little bit about scaling Sheltr, but I'm happy to chime in on the Hippo side. For us, we go state by state, work very closely with regulators to get approved in that state, and then have a very robust playbook, thanks to our strong technology foundation, to launch our insurance offering in that state. And so we're actually able to scale very, very aggressively and quickly compared to probably any other insurance player you'll see, thanks to both our strong relationships with regulators, but also our tech foundation and savvy that allows us to launch a new state with the right rates, right coverages that are best fitted for homeowners in those locations. So in terms of scaling Hippo, we're now probably close to 60% in terms of the coverage of the US in terms of homeowners in just the 21 states that we're in, and we'll continue aggressively scaling from there.
Yeah, and on the Sheltr side, we started in the Bay Area, and since we launched, we've expanded to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We're launching Austin in a couple of weeks. We have Sacramento and Southern California on our near-term roadmap as well. And so what we really think about is, where can we get the most bang for our buck, looking at where the density of customers are, and we sort of just start going down that list and expanding to those markets. There's a little bit of, there's certainly an operational component. And the biggest challenge we have is getting professionals who are able to give that really high quality of service. But once we've gotten them, the market, the logistics works pretty well, and we can grow within a market very quickly. So that's our focus. In addition to that sort of core expansion, we're also working on a self-service product. So you might be able to snap a few photos, answer a couple questions, and get a lot of the same type of value. So you tell us your HVAC filter size, and we can automatically, sign you up to receive HVAC filters every 6 months. And here's a DIY on how to, replace your wired smoke detector battery, things like that, just to, again, help people before we're able to deliver the physical service to them, but still scale out some of that customer benefit.
Do you ever use insurance adjusters for home pros?
Where we have thought about it.
I'm just asking. We happen to have a few insurance adjusters.
I bet you do. Yeah, no, it's actually, that's something we should talk about separately of the podcast, but we look at people who can really deliver, that high quality of customer service, like an insurance adjuster. So that's an area that makes sense. We work with people who have a high degree of familiarity with the home, as well as people with a really good customer service focus. So that can also be people like appraisers, realtors, really polished, service construction and handyman professionals, people like that.
I'm sitting here thinking how great of an idea Sheltr is, and it seems like it has such a need. I'm curious, is there a story, or can you tell us where the idea came about?
Yeah, certainly. I, like one of the millions of homeowners a year, actually experienced what was a claim. I live in San Francisco. I have a deck that, unbeknownst to me before this, has a drain in the bottom, and there's wood slatting over the deck. So about 6 inches of water pooled on this deck, and I didn't know that the drain was clogged. The deck happens to be over my bedroom, and we got a bunch of water starting to come into our bedroom and wondered where it was coming from. So this little thing of, this thing that was totally unknown to me. It was as simple as cleaning a drain, ended up costing us thousands of dollars, in repair. And not just that, but finding people to do it. And then do we also need painters and drywall and all this type of stuff? So that was a really eye-opening experience for me. And I realized that there's a lot of similar things that other people face. And it's really just about giving people a solution to help them mitigate those types of things.
One of the interesting things that we haven't hit on in the podcast yet is just you two guys. Both of you have very interesting backstories about how you get from where you were and what you're into to where you are today. Daniel, can you talk for a minute, just a little bit about your story and how you got to Hippo?
Sure, happy to. So I was born and raised in Israel. I studied computer science for undergrad and then spent about 7 years in the Israeli Air Force working primarily around technology. I then decided to move to the States for business school. And that's actually about 10 years ago is when I met Asaf Wan for the first time. He's the co-founder and CEO of Hippo. And then we stayed in touch ever since. My journey in the US has been, business school and then management consulting after business school. And I then joined LinkedIn Corporation and worked at LinkedIn for about 5 years. And when I was looking to move to a younger, smaller company that did exciting things with a world-class leadership team, it was only natural. I had this conversation with Asaf, and we crafted this role for me, and I couldn't be more excited to join that journey. So it was, a lot of it was based on my strong relationship and trust of Asaf himself, as well as the rest of the leadership team as I got to know them.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about that leadership team to me is that they're not insurance guys, but they had a great vision. They saw something that was obviously, the timing was good.
Yeah, I think it definitely started like that. So the two founders didn't come from insurance, and they did feel the need and saw the opportunity when they started the company. What I think is interesting as Hippo evolved, though, is that the leadership team, as well as the rest of the team, very quickly rounded itself out with the strongest insurance professionals in the industry. I think uniquely Hippo within InsureTech actually truly believes that InsureTech is made up of two words, insurance and technology. And one can't live with the other. And I think that Hippo does a phenomenal job marrying the two. And, if you look at our team today, as well as our technology and how we go about the business of home insurance, I would say we equally dedicate ourselves and invest in both the insurance side of things, because we do respect where this industry came from and what this offering is in its core, as well as technology, because we know that if everything relies on technology, you can do phenomenal things quickly and at scale.
Right. One of the questions that we ask several of the companies who are on here on our podcast is, do you consider yourself an insurance company, or do you consider yourself a technology company? And how would you answer that, Daniel?
Yeah, it's exactly that. I think we consider ourselves an insurance technology company. We truly do believe that it's a 50-50 split between the two, because one can't live without the other. We think that you could be the most phenomenal technology company, but if you don't respect and understand the insurance fundamentals, you are likely not going to be a true long-term sustainable entity that is able to modernize the space. And on the flip side, if you don't rely on technology in everything that you do, then you will have failed in doing anything different and truly improving the customer experience and the customer value proposition. So we spend a lot of time thinking about it and ensuring that we truly balance the two.
Daniel, we're talking about your story, and I want to veer just a little bit. We're talking about Hippo and the passion and kind of what you're doing with the technology. Do you see other insurance companies trying to catch up to what you're doing with the technology and the customer engagements, or are they are they getting anywhere close to you, or are y'all jumping out there pretty far?
Yeah, so we definitely see other players dabbling with various types of offerings. I think you mainly see it around the smart home space. I think you see a lot of players, even the incumbents, running various pilots, like putting a camera on your deck and doing things of that nature. I think what we uniquely try to do is make sure that the programs we put in place are as widely applicable as possible. So, our smart home program that's now at scale is made available to the entire customer base, and it's provided complimentary in alignment and collaboration with the regulators. And we apply a discount to your policy, to the premium, when you keep the system on. And so we think that rather than a pointed pilot is the way to approach it. We also have the kit, a comprehensive one with multi-purpose sensors that protect you against all the perils we worry about, right? Like water, fire, and theft. And similarly, now with proactive services and protective maintenance with Sheltr, this is another area where our focus is to make it as widely applicable as possible to all our customers, as the goal, as the vision. And I think that in that, we really try to make sure that it's not just something cool that we're testing, but something that becomes a part of the core of what we do.
Yeah, it does sound as though you've moved past the testing stage and you've fully implemented a lot of these solutions, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And I guess Hippo's okay if people don't want to use it too, right? Some people might not want to use this technology, and y'all are okay with that.
Absolutely. There'll always be people who are just not comfortable for whatever reason, and we definitely see that, and we respect that. Our effort and attempt is to try and educate everyone to the benefits of it, and make it fitting to as many people as possible in whatever way and shape or form we can, because we do fundamentally believe that the use of technology and the adoption of the other services that we now and will bring to fold will help people just be better homeowners and have a better experience as homeowners on an ongoing basis.
More effective and efficient over time. Traditionally, and Lee and I have been in the insurance industry for a long time, and we've seen from the incumbents that they've always struggled. It's always been a struggle on the customer engagement side. It's been really hard for them because, for lots of different reasons. I mean, historically, you just didn't engage with your insurance company other than paying your bill or if there was a claim. And so it's such a new paradigm to think that we could engage with our insurance companies, but we're not doing it by you guys offering a discount on flowers for Valentine's Day or something crazy. You guys it sounds like you're very focused on where's the real value added to this proposition that will encourage engagement, that will make engagement natural. That's probably a lot harder said than done.
That's exactly right. And that has been our focus throughout. I think increasingly we see regulators also adopting that perspective and realization. And we're actually very excited about the ability to work with regulators and modernize this approach to understand that it's not like I'm giving you a free Samsung 62-inch TV or tickets to the NBA finals for you to come, get your policy with me. It's actually, I am trying to provide you a real value add that would help you protect the property that I am insuring, and it works for both of us. And as long as that is our focus, I think that we should all be consumer first and homeowner first in how we approach it, and really recognize what are those offerings, technologies, services that truly do that, that truly serve that mission, versus any type of other gift, if you will, or inducement type thing that is traditionally viewed as such.
Yeah, I mean, we heard it from Alicia earlier today. This is what customers want, right? It's a real customer problem.
Right. You're solving a problem. You're not enticing something using some other flashy, interesting thing to entice them to engage with you about their home. It's all centralized around that. And I think it's brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I also want to touch on two more things real quickly. One is because I really want to hear Andrew has a very interesting story as well. But what about auto? I mean, when you talk about P&C, it's hard not to talk about auto. You guys, of course, as I understand it, are homeowners only today. Is auto in the future? Does that come into play, or are you just really staying focused on the house?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, we continuously look at all types of opportunities and all the places where we think we can add value and modernize or significantly change how things are done. We actually have a lot of respect for a lot of players in auto, and we think, Progressive, Geico, others are really pushing the envelope there, and we don't know right now that there's something that can be a Hippo version that is truly different, unique, that we should pursue in auto. And unless we can get very comfortable with that, it wouldn't make sense to distract ourselves from the opportunity in front of us. I think, right now, being the best homeowners insurance provider is truly how we're trying to focus ourselves and proceed forward with all the supplemented and associated capabilities, services, offerings that we had discussed that support that mission.
Andrew, we're going to pick on you for a second. I hope you don't mind.
Okay, bring it on.
So, did you go swimming this morning, Andrew?
I did.
Okay, tell us about your swim. Tell us where you swam and how you swam.
This morning I swam in the Aquatic Park Cove in the San Francisco Bay.
And what was the water temperature today?
Today was actually a very special day. It was the first day we actually combined the air and the water temperature to sort of create a cumulative score. And today was the first day under a combined 100 for the year. So the water temperature was about 52. And I think the air this morning was about 45. So it was a combined 97 this morning.
And you did that, just so everybody understands this, without a wetsuit, correct?
That's right.
That is awful.
I mean, I assume that when you get out of the water, you don't feel like taking a nap. You're probably pretty awake.
It's addicting. You're pretty wired. You feel really, really good all day.
Wow.
After like a half an hour in the sauna, not immediately. Yeah.
Right. And also you were in the Peace Corps for some time, which is a wonderful thing. And we thank you for doing that. Just real quickly, how do you get from the Peace Corps to where you are today?
Thank you. So I spent a couple of years in the Peace Corps in Senegal working with local agribusinesses, and being in Senegal really gave me an opportunity to sort of look back at all these things that I could do after, do I want to go work in New York? Do I want to move to Chicago, where most of my friends from college were? And I saw that everything really exciting was happening in San Francisco. So I just knew I needed to figure out a way to end up here. And that was a real opportunity that I had, with the perspective that the distance afforded me that I might not have seen, right after college, for example. And I'm not from the Bay Area. I grew up in Indiana, so I definitely needed the perspective.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Pawnee, Indiana.
That's not dissimilar to where I grew up. So I grew up in a small town called Bristol, Indiana.
Oh, really? Was there someone named Leslie? Nope. That's the only thing I want to know.
If not named Leslie, I'm sure her spirit person is running the city government.
It seems like a pretty interesting place.
Yeah.
But listen, we can't thank you guys enough for being with us today. We're so grateful, and we love the Hippo story, and now the Hippo Sheltr story. We love the Sheltr story in and of itself. And when we started pursuing having Sheltr on, I believe it was even before the official announcement. So just stand alone. We think that's a super interesting play that has a really exciting future, and let alone as part of the Hippo family. So we thank you guys a lot for being with us.
That's been a real pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
you know, that was a really interesting podcast, and one that I'm so impressed with Hippo. And I know at the end of, we usually talk nicely about people and companies because we're typically impressed. But I'm very impressed with Hippo. I mean, that's a company that I would invest in. I just think that they have a great formula and a great concept. And what they did with Sheltr is really a kind of a proof in the pudding. I mean, I don't know how it'll all work out and where it'll all go. I'm sure it'll be successful. They have great people involved in it, but it's completely in line with what they're trying to pull off, and that is an insurer that's involved with the insured for the good of the insured, using making the home a better place to be in.
Well, they have such a vision, and they're pushing through to see that their vision happens. Like, they want customer engagement. They want it to the level that the customer wants it. They don't want the customer to have claims, and that's not a selfish reason. It's not necessarily because they don't want to pay. It's because they don't want you to go through the problems that a claim is. Now, I know a lot of insurance companies feel that way, but it's just so interesting to hear from the depth of Hippo, the actual foundations and their pillars for success that they are preaching. It's I thought it was a great, you had said earlier, just a deep conversation.
Of course, today was really exciting because we had a new co-host on our show.
Yeah.
Is that, can we use that term, co-host?
We can. I think we can use that term. Good job, Alicia.
Alicia Moss.
Good job.
Alicia Moss, who basically handles all things logistical, non-technical with our podcast and does an amazing job doing it, jumped on. Thanks, Alicia.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Alicia. She said thank you.
Oh, she doesn't have a mic?
No, I took it back.
Okay.
We actually have three of them sitting here, but only one works.
Yeah, don't take that personally. But we're thrilled to have had Hippo and Sheltr and have the opportunity to talk with them about what they're up to and how it all makes sense, of which, like we were saying before, seems to me that it really does. And we thank you for being with us today. And as always, thank you for your following our podcast. And we ask that you subscribe to it. Is the best way to support us. Or just to send us money. That's another way to support us. In small denominations, preferably cash.
Either works.
And with that, we'll say what we always say.
Goodbye, everybody.